Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo Weekly Race Guide. It's week 32 and we have a very interesting week this week. It's very unique, let's put it that way. Now in the background you can see we're at Sardegna, specifically Layout C, and it is also a Lamborghini. But before we get into that, let's have a look at the race details. We are racing 6 laps here at Sardegna Layout C. It's a grid start as always and sports medium tyres. Now we are in the Lamborghini Countach 25th anniversary car, and this car likes a lot of weight transfer, so if you even remotely get that wrong, you are flying off to Narnia. So this is a very difficult combo, to be honest, and I could tell that by the grid I was in because it was so varied as well. Let's jump to the race then. I'll talk you through what happened in the race, some little bit of carnage in there, and also a lap guide and just some tips that might be able to help you out here. If you're looking to improve, this is probably the race for you. Here we are then at the start of this, and can I just say, nobody was popping their headlights up. I was fuming. I was like, is it broken? Is it actually broken? Well, we're about to find out if it's broken. I always put the brake lights on, just sit there working, and then you see pop up light. I'm like, where are they? Where are they? Come on, plebs, get on with it. Right, here we go then. Traction control on 1 to set off, and then turn it off just before you change gear, and you should get an alright launch there, as you can see. We're off and flying away here, heading down towards turn 1 then. I always knew this was going to be a sketchy corner, to be honest. When you try this car out, you'll notice it doesn't have any brakes. Now, in terms of brake balance, you want it as much forward as possible. -3 I went with. -5 creates too much understeer, in my opinion. However, everybody survives, which I'm very surprised about, if I'm honest. A little bit of contact here with the Italian. I had to really lift off there, but they were trying to give space. And there's a mixture of driver ratings in here, from B to A+, so it really is varied, and that's what I meant by the grid. So I'm not sure what happened to the finish driver there. Maybe some ping lag, I'm not too sure. Ping contact maybe. But then I just was paying too much attention to this carnage in front. I had no idea what was going on. So I let off, and then yeah, just a bit of a weird moment there. I was just so focused on it. It really was. Maybe it's because I've been at work today and a little bit tired, I'm not too sure. But that's cost me all this first lap, and we're actually going to drop all the way to the back of the grid again. No place is made. Lap 1, minute 1. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with that, if I'm honest with you. However, it is 6 laps, so we have plenty of... Well, say 6 laps. It's now 5 laps, but we have plenty of time to make some progress here in this race. So I kind of thought, well, turn 1, surely it's going to be carnage this time. It's full pelt into turn 1. I wasn't wrong this time. Everybody decides to go off there. 1, 2, 3. Everybody off. Now, the Italian comes back on, recovers it, so I was like, I'll go down the inside. They turn left. A bit of a hard one, to be honest, because they're sort of in the middle of the road. If I went right, they could have gone right to avoid being on the racing line, but they went left. Yeah, just a tad bit awkward. But going through here, so they're still having some issues here, the Italian. And I was like, okay, let's try and go down the inside here. So we're level. I let off completely early here. Unfortunately, they tagged the car. Now, it looks really bad from my perspective at that point. But you got to remember, when there's weight transfer in this car, the understeer just hits. You can't control it at that point. So unfortunately, he hit the car. That transferred the weight left. The car gets straight. At that point, it's just going to understeer completely into the wall, irrespective of what I do at that point, because obviously the weight should have been on the right rear of the car at that point and turning. So it's one of those where turned in and yeah, carnage happened. So a bit unfortunate, but we continue on with this race against Fireball. Now this is a good little race. So Fireball defended very well up here and goes for that inside line. So I'm like, well, I'll go for a really outside line here. Try and be aggressive. Try and turn. Initially, I thought this didn't work, but they just get the acceleration slightly wrong on exit. A little bit of oversteer there, and happy days. Through we go up into P8. There we go. Happy days. What we are going to do, folks, now is actually move a little bit forward, catch up a bit further on, and also go into a lap guide as well. So this is the final lap. Head down towards turn 1. What you're looking for is that orange dab at the 150 meter board. It's on the left-hand side. You want to be braking on the crest of this hill. So this was the marker I picked out. And this is a safe marker. You can brake later than this, but you really have to control the braking, as we see somebody go off there, a Spaniard. No, German, sorry, apologies. From a distance, there's the Spaniard, so I knew somebody was off. So, yeah, you've really got to control the braking. You can brake later, and you just dab the throttle a little bit, and that increases braking efficiency. So just be careful of that. Head towards here then, use the last red flag on the right-hand side there, right before the 50 meter board. Brake. You're going to want to trail brake a little bit. 80 miles an hour. You aim for that on the apex, you should be fairly golden. I drop a little bit under here because I just got it slightly wrong, but 80 miles an hour, you should be top there. So through here, you are going to have to lift here. I know normally you don't. Lifting is key. notice how the car is very balanced with just that lift. Don't lift off fully, but lift to 25%-ish and you should be fine. Braking for this last corner. I'm lifting here and I'll tap the brake a little bit, but I don't want to full on because it'll just make the car understeer off. So I'm using the first part of that curb on the right-hand side, letting the car roll through, and then I brake hard here once I know the car can go straight where that curb is there. Now, I'm actually going to be on the inside here. You're a bit... The line is varied because it's the way the car comes through the corner. Sometimes you take a wide line, sometimes it's just where you are. So you're going to have to be careful there. And overtaking moves will happen there. But that is going to be it in terms of race 8. Very hard. Oh, we're going in P6 as well. Of course we are. I'm sure everybody's noticed that in chat already. So yeah, P-Tidge. There we go. We've stolen it off Steve. But I think this one, if you go on time trial, one you can really improve your driving skill at. So I'd give it a go, but you will have contact in the race. Let's head to race B, where yes, you are not seeing things here. It is raining. And it's Group 4. Now, this combo, and I said this in my video yesterday, I believe has never, ever happened in the history of Gran Turismo. I did say it was unique this week. It certainly is. Group 4, wet weather. Please let me know if I'm mistaken, but I do not remember this ever happening in FIA. It's never happened at a World Tour event. So this is a first. And big shout out for PD for doing this. We wanted unique combos. Here we have one. Let's jump to the race details then. We're racing 7 laps here at the Red Bull Ring short version. I forgot to mention the circuit. It's a rolling start and pick racing wets. I made the mistake in practice using the intermediates. That's what it defaults to. Jump to the racing wets. Now, I'm using the Subaru this time. And Mungino has provided delivery. Thank you so much. 4-wheel drive is king here. So pick a 4-wheel drive car. You'll have lots of grip, not too much oversteer. But there will still be some. Now, let's jump to the race then and let's find out what happened because it was kind of a unique race as well, to be honest with you. Here we are then at the start. As you can see, lots of Subarus here. I suppose it's perfect, isn't it, for it? We've got Lancer in there. We've got GTR in there as well. And you see my qualifying time. That was on intermediate. So I was like, how on earth are you meant to turn this car? And then I went out in the warm-up and was like, oh, everyone's on wets. That makes sense. So I chucked the wets on. That made far more sense. So the first couple of laps, you're going to actually see me learning because I literally had done 0 laps on the wet tyres. So obviously I'm having to learn all the braking zones on the fly. Now we have a bit of a laggy boy in front, which is going to be significant as we go through this race. But we'll look at that shortly. So obviously to start the race, nice and easy. We normally go into a lap guide. We're not going to do that this time for reasons that will be made clear very soon. As we head towards turn 1, I sort of guessed I could brake later than I could on the intermediates. And that worked out a treat, to be honest with you. As through we go, you see some cone flying action there. We hit the cone. Now, I wasn't sure where to fully brake here for this turn, so I was going to rely on my Italian racer there. But yeah, he lagged, and then I went off to Narnia. So it's a bit wet in Narnia, and I get brought back on with no grip whatsoever. Obviously, I've got dirt on my tires. It's raining, and yeah, it's a pit carnage trying to get going again. So I was like, oh, this is going to be a bit boring. But however, you see my Italian friend is lagging all over the place, and he makes a reappearance. And I could not tell you where on earth he was on the circuit. So I decided I was just going to drive my normal racing line where I could. Obviously here, I can sort of gather where he is. He's on the left-hand side. But where I'm on a corner, I'm just going to have to drive. Because he was lagging everywhere. Or she, you know, it could be a she as well. So through we go. And you see, look at this. Like, how can I race this? How can I race this? So going through here, I was like, who knows? I'm just going to go. I'm just going to accelerate where I can. And yeah. There we go. We're through finally, but yeah, a bit crazy that. So my race, I thought was ruined, but we do have a good race a little bit later on. So that's where we're going to go to now. Now, we've just caught up to the French driver here, El Padrino, and we were looking down the inside. Very risky to do. Obviously, in the wet conditions, you brake even remotely late, you're going to understeer into somebody. So very skillful to overtake in this race. It really is. And one way, if you want to practice overtaking, I would do this race a lot. You know, really try and focus on how to overtake, braking that tiny bit later, the impact of that as well. You really can do that here. You see the Spaniards have run wide, so they've got a penalty here. I was expecting them to sort of back out of this, but they didn't. They went for it here. And that's really back out the Frenchman. I didn't want to go for the move there, but if I didn't get out the way, I was going to hit them and they would have gone off. So that was a bit of avoidant action there. But we continue racing here. So into the right-hander we go. It's all about just nice and easy through here. Maintain some form of speed and you should be golden. And then through into the left. Now you want to get on the inside of the curb here. I will do a proper lap guide shortly. And I was looking to try and get a bit of speed out that corner. It doesn't quite work out. But you notice how I did that corner? in the lap guide, it's not very good because I properly try and push hard here. So you can see the Spaniard gets out of the way of everybody here, or goes defensive, I'm not too sure. So we're pulling on the inside, a little bit of contact, nothing major here. Obviously, you want to turn in quite early with the understeer from the rain. So that was all golden, really. And the Spaniard goes off. So I'm like, happy days. Nice little cut on the inside. Up into P12. So not the end of the world here. And now we are going to go into that lap guide on lap number 7. Obviously, I had to catch up there. Heading towards turn 1. Normally, we're looking for the 100-meter board. We're more looking at the 150-meter board and 100-meter board, or the concrete. Now, the concrete on the right side is perfect if you want to use that. So I highlighted that for you. A lot of people will just judge bang in the middle of the 150 and 100. But the concrete there on the right side, perfect mark for you. As we nearly get rear-ended there. I have no idea what happened other than I suspect Laggy Boy was involved in that maybe, and that was the cause of it. Now, this turn. On the left-hand side, you notice the grey marks there? The end of the grey marks on the hill. That's where you want to brake, and you're going to drop to 2nd gear. And you really just want to let the car roll through this corner as best as you can. I'm maintaining a little bit of throttle there to try and keep the speed up. Notice I'm just letting it roll now. I'm bouncing the throttle. And I accelerate. Now, I said this earlier. You want to get on the inside. You want to get on the inside of that red and white curb. However, I don't. And I go a little bit too aggressive, and I understeer off there. I managed to save it. However, that's the track limits penalty. Be warned. 4 wheels on that curb, you will get a penalty. So be careful. Heading towards this right-hander then, the 100-meter board. Normally we're braking at the 50-meter board, or where the marshals are. 100-meter board is where we're braking this time. And you want to roll off the brakes. Because you're going downhill, if you remotely stay on the brakes as you turn in here, you're going to understeer off. Use the inside of the curb again, accelerate onto here, and then you're going to try and get as close as you can to the end of that red and white Austrian flag down the left-hand side. You won't be able to do it on it, but braking earlier here can be better. You notice here, I'm just trying to clip the inside. If you go too aggressive, you'll understeer off and go left, like the Spaniard did before. So just be careful there. You do want to get as close as you can to the end of that, but go too aggressive, and you will be off. And that's the end of that race. As I say, I think a good race to practice overtaking. Very hard to overtake, but I think, you know, one where, again, you can really fine-tune your skills here, because it's quite slow racing as well. Let's jump to race C. It's back! It's Monza! Yes, and it's not the one without the chicane. We do have chicanes here, and it is Group 1, as you can see. So going to be a very, very, very fast race. Let's have a look at the race details, first of all. We're racing 12 laps here at Monza. It's a rolling start, and we're on the racing medium tyres only. That's right, no pit stops. But you do have to look after the tyres a little bit with these cars, because they do spin them up quite a lot, as you will see in the race. Now, I wasn't sure which car to take, if I'm honest. Audi was top, as always. I was like, I'll go with my sturdy Toyota, because it's a Toyota, and usually it's okay in any Group 1 race. I would go with the Audi, to be honest. It is the better car, as I found out in the race. So let's jump to the race then. Let's find out exactly what happened, because this one, I did more overtakes by not overtaking. Here we are then at the start, as you see. Audi, Toyota. Audi. Oi! Peugeot, Toyota, Porsche in there. As I say, I was with the Toyota. I saw Toyota in first. I was like, oh, maybe it's all right here. But no, the Audi is the better car. I'll put it out there right now. It is the better car. Brake balance is all over the place in this race. 3 is your best friend, I think. 5, a little bit too chaotic, in my opinion. 3 is your best friend for the Toyota if you're using that. For the Audi, it may very well be 5. I don't know. Maybe someone can put that in the comments or in the chat. So we set off here, and I was expecting carnage, Monza, turn 1, lots of speed. So I do warm up my tyres briefly here. And then as we head towards turn 1, hey, look, a yellow flag. That's surprising, isn't it? My word, I was very surprised. No, I wasn't surprised at all. So you can see pure carnage here. So I'm like, I'll have to just go through people here. I have no idea what's going on. And you see we've still got ghosts and all sorts here. So pretty carnagey, to be honest with you. But we'll leave that turn 1 in P15-ish. Say ish there. We've got Poloff on the left-hand side. But I knew they'd go for that into that turn anyway. And, oh, wow, a little bit of contact there between Bahamas and that other guy. And, oh, we got hit from behind. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. We got hit from behind. So I purposely cut the corner knowing that I wouldn't get a penalty. That's something to keep in your mind, by the way. If you do get contact in a chicane, you can cut it a little bit, and that's the way to stop getting a penalty. Just keep that in mind. So, yeah, we head towards turn 1. And, of course, there's going to be carnage here. As through we go. And oh wait, no, there isn't. Oh, there's no carnage this time, but we did catch up to Bahamas here, so let's see what happens. Now, as I said, I was messing about with the brake balance, but at this moment in the race I was on +5, I think. as I said, later on I go to +3, and I think that's your best mate. So Bahamas goes defensive here. Good little bit of defensive driving. Can't really go for a move there, and I wouldn't really want to be on the outside anyway. And I'm just being a little bit careful through the chicanes because I don't really want penalties like you can see up ahead. So we advance a bit further on here. Next lap in towards turn 1. I think this one has carnage. As we come into the braking zone, let's find out what's going to happen here. Oh yeah, yellow flag. What's going on as Bahamas gets all sorts of oversteer then. So through we go. Oh, we got a couple of people around. Up into P13. As I say, this race is the race where I get overtakes by not overtaking. It's very surprising how well this works. So I head towards turn 1, next lap. What do you know? People trying to go for moves again. And, well, look at this. People off, people spinning, people everywhere. We slightly tapped the Turkish driver there. That was a mistake, of course. Somebody's off. And then there's the P3 driver, Paul GT. That was the highest Toyota at the time. And we're looking to get into P10. So once again, 3 more positions. Overtaking by not overtaking. The ultimate strategy. The 9,000 IQ play here. Done and dusted. So through there we go. Little bit of contact there with Savevas there, but that was just, you know, they turned in a little bit of contact on the corner, and they did exactly what I said. Cut the corner because you've had that contact, and you can take advantage of that. And now they're going to be down the inside here. Good little bit side-by-side racing, and we managed to keep it round the outside, just not in the gravel leg. Some good racing with that driver, and Zocca's been off, I think, maybe, to be that slow out the corner. So up into P9. Once again, another overtake by not overtaking. The smart way to race. Through here we go. We had a slight tap there, but we did brake a tiny bit early, so, you know, it's one of those things. And through we go. So lap 4 up to P9 from, where were we? P18? I can't remember now where we started, but Paul going to have the slipstream and the advantage here. So going to get the overtake done and dusted. We do try around the outside here, though. Is it possible? Can it work? Nah, I don't think so. So we just back out of that. And through we go. And Bahamas is going to be off. So once again, another overtake. By not overtaking. Guys, we're on the inside of Paul GT now. Can we get this move done? This would be very impressive. So this is a natural overtake happening. We do them occasionally, folks. We don't just let other people spin off. And yeah, we're going to try and keep this position. What's going to happen here? In we go. And yeah, that wasn't really going to happen through there. It's a very hard corner to overtake anyway. And no penalty because there was contact there as well. So let's advance a bit further on. And we have Zocca behind us. So this is where you're going to see the power of the Audi. The Audi has slightly better top speed in a straight line. And you can see the Audi going past now. So we're just going to let off. Get a little bit of charge there in our Toyota. So in terms of the Toyota hybrid, it's generated by lifting off and braking. So just free-rolling the car. I think the Audi is just braking. You will have to have that brake balance kind of towards the rear. But it does work. As you see, most people are using that Audi. But again, I'm just trying to be safe through here. As you see, Zocca cut a lot of the inside there. So they get a penalty. Paul GT gets a penalty as well. A 1-second penalty, which means it was the first part of the chicane that was cut, not the second. So, yes, 2 penalties up ahead. Which, guess what? Means overtaking by not overtaking. It's genius. It's like the best strategy in the game. How does nobody not know this? Up into P8 we go. Happy days. Happy days. Where are we going to end up, folks? We are going to go into a lap guide shortly, by the way. I know some of you are just waiting for that. There's no strategy in pit stops. It's all about looking after your tyres. You can see I'm a bit tentative through Ascari. I'm also not the best in Group 1 cars. But heading towards turn 1 then, you're going to brake after the 150 meter board. But don't brake too far after. So it's just after the 150 meter board. You're going to slam on the anchors. And there we go. Notice that done and dusted. And it's better to be safe here. Or I'm braking too late and oversteering. As you leave this corner, make sure you are straight before you accelerate. As we get another place. Overtaking by not overtaking. And someone quit up ahead. So yes, straight line the car first, then accelerate. Be about 50% throttle because it's already bounced the car there. And then you should be golden. A lot of people oversteering there. Head towards the second chicane then. The dab of orange paint on the right-hand side. That is your marker for this corner. Again, play it safe. I mean, you can cut and the penalty's not that drastic, but I was just playing it safe here because I don't want a penalty. And you're going to see the Turkish driver gets a penalty here. So obviously they're going to lose a position. Now, heading towards Lesmo 1, it's the shadow once again. Slap bang in the middle of the road. Very easy to see. Obviously, if you're on the inside, you can see it as well. Nice, easy marker for you there. And just bounce the car through the corner. Straight through it. Happy days. Heading towards this second one then. So you're looking for either the tree on the right or the 50 meter board on the left. I always point these markers out every single time. Nice and easy spots. Obviously, the 50 meter board does get taken out occasionally. This corner is very hard. It's second or third gear. Third gear is better if you just take it nice and smooth. Turkish driver, very sportsmanlike conduct there. Just moves over to the right hand side. And once again, up into the cursed position by not overtaking. We get there in the end. The Scari, use the piece of tarmac. You want to brake just after the orange painted marker on the right hand side. So the tarmac is a very good marker for you to use. So we're going to drop to third gear and cut the inside a lot. You can carry a lot of speed through here. You just got to be careful. If you hit the sausages, it will unsettle the car. So you can carry full speed through there generally, just like lifts maybe, but just avoid the sausages, otherwise you will get oversteer. Now, Parabolica, nice and easy here. It's between the 100 and the 50, sort of in the middle of it. So that's what you aim for, past the 100, before the 50. And you can be very aggressive here with the Parabolica, unless you want to generate some energy. Now, use that second lamppost on the right-hand side as your acceleration marker. I point this out all the time as well. As that gets to the edge of your screen, you really should be 100% throttle at this point. As you see, we're just after that, so we could have done that slightly better. As you can see, we didn't use all the circuit either. As we continue on, and look at those lap times, by the way. We get snap bingo. Look at that, 2.026s, and then it was a 0.22 and a 0.223. I mean, that's pretty consistent, don't you think? And nothing really happened. We finished in the cursed position, and that's the end of that race. It's quite a short video this week. I do hope you've enjoyed it all the same. Ollie is streaming roundabout now, so if you do want to check that out, do check it out there with that video. My video's on the right. Give it a like if you did like it. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch with the content. But that's going to be it for me now, folks. Au revoir, farewell, have a good week. If I don't see you from here on out, until next Monday.